Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. This is Tim Humphrey. Today's conversation is about my history with New Order. So this is kind of my series of kind of reviewing music that from my childhood, probably from the ages of like maybe like 5 or 6 or 7, so anywhere around there to like maybe like 15 or 20. You know, kind of my wouldn't say my pre-clubbing days, but because I'm not much of a clubber, but sort of my teens and before, when I used music, when I first got a chance to, get to know a lot of music and visit a lot of record stores, and really was the primary influence of a lot of my taste in music and, excuse me while I adjust the camera there. Just the background of my music taste. I felt that it's really important to have if I was going to do a channel, just to have a foundation of music that you can see that, or I felt that I could express that was a big part of me. I wouldn't say it's like super vital, but I feel like like with certain genres and things like that, it's really important to have a nice background, of basic music and dance music and whatever style you're into. Having a knowledge of what kind of came before it and how you kind of evolved into that. I know everybody doesn't necessarily look at music that way, or maybe they just dance in clubs to it or what have you. But to me, it's just on a different kind of level with me. It's I wouldn't say it's spiritual or anything like that, but it's just really important for my well-being, and I wouldn't even say my moods or anything like that. But it's just, I just got so much satisfaction out of every part of music when it comes to like buying and selling and learning about it and sharing and playing and mixing and editing, and I've done so many things with music for fun and for artistic sake, that I feel like I've kind of tried everything in music, and just because I really wanted to enjoy it on so many different levels and take it to another creative aspect, or another creative level, even though it's not creative level on as far as like making music, which I dabbled in, but it just doesn't feel right for me for whatever reason. Maybe I don't have the patience enough to make a track, or I've one thing you'll know about me is I've done a lot of things, and it doesn't have to be whether it was successful or not, but I did it on some kind of level, and whether I enjoyed it, that was kind of or the desire to do it again or continue to do it. If I didn't have that desire, I kind of moved on from it. And so there's different things I've done like in the past where and one of them was just like making music. I remember I got a beat machine in like late '90s, like when those I'm trying to remember what brand it was. They had the blue or red one, and had the little valves on it. I don't think it was. Geez, I can't remember. Anyways, it was I think it was the Chaos Electra. They had the red one and the blue one and stuff like that. Excuse me. I'm drinking coffee. It's kind of giving me some indigestion. I don't know why coffee gives me such indigestion, but I love it. I might be lactose intolerant. I don't know. But anyways, but I have to have cream in coffee. I don't know. It just tastes so good. Anyways, yeah, I think it was like a Electribe or one of those. I think it was I can't remember if it was the red or blue one. We're talking like 1998, something like that. I made a song and I was like really happy with the song. I was like, this is a cool beat. I returned that thing within 30 days. I felt like I did it. It just didn't. I wish I kind of recorded that song, just so I had it to see if I still like it. But at the time I liked it, but I was like, I got the most out of it, and then I returned it. I don't know. I've bought other pieces of equipment along and tried to do different music on, like modulars. But when modulars got popular, like 8 years ago, I bought the first Roland's, the first modulars, the Jupiter 6 and a couple other ones. I'm blanking on the names of them right now. But with the keyboards, and I got a TR8 Roland drum machine, and did some patterns and stuff like that, and I liked the way it synced. It was really easy and made for a nice creative flow to just do some sounds, beats and keyboard sounds and stuff like that. But I still kept them. I ended up giving the TR8 to my friend Adrian. Hopefully you're watching the channel, Adrian. But I gave it to him for helping me move one time. He was really helpful moving me. I think it was like 2 years ago, and I to say thanks, I was like, hey, do you want some money, or do you want? I'll give you this keyboard. I mean, the TR8. He was like, oh, give me the keyboard. So again, that was like $450 machine, but I was happy to give it to him because he's such a great guy, and he was super helpful with moving, and we always hanged out and shared music and stuff. So shout out to you, Adrian. But yeah, not getting way off track here, but so today's show is about like New Order and my history with New Order, and I think one of the great things about New Order was I think I'm gonna do a separate video on Joy Division and electronic, just because I don't want to make this video over 40 minutes, hopefully. So hopefully it doesn't go over 40 minutes, or I'm trying to keep some of the longer ones like New Order, Depeche Mode, The Cure, Pet Shop Boys, Skinny Puppy. I'm trying to keep those under an hour, and right now, I think Pet Shop Boys and Skinny Puppy are right at an hour. So hopefully this isn't too long. But for those that like to enjoy a deeper conversation, I think why my videos are longer is just I like to hit every aspect on it, every aspect on the band, whether it be live, their music, what it means to me, the qualities that they have. Their discography, their history, some of the band members, whatever it is, my experiences with them and seeing them live. So there's a lot of touch points that I like to do, and I like to be very thorough. That way I don't feel like I have to go back and edit anything. So if you guys will allow me to ramble here, hopefully you guys will find some good information in here and just relate to my experience and stuff like that, and just to maybe agree or disagree on some good music, or talk about some music that maybe I missed. Like for example, I was in the Pet Shop Boys video, and I really didn't touch on all the great B-sides that Pet Shop Boys did, and I think that was because my CD copy of Alternative, which has all the B-sides, I lost some time on the way, so I didn't really get to show that, so I didn't talk about it. But man, I forgot how much I loved New Life and Jack the Lad, those B-sides, and A Man Could Get Arrested, and like those, I Want a Dog, and so many great B-sides. Then I really didn't touch on. I did mention New Life, but I didn't mention Jack the Lad, and that chorus on Jack the Lad on the Pet Shop Boys is just perfect. So yeah, New Order. So my older sister got me into New Order probably around like '85. Of course, I can remember hearing Love Will Tear Us Apart before I probably. I don't know. I don't know, but my sister had that record, and I think probably I can't really remember my first a memory of New Order. That's how far it goes back. So if I don't have a memory of something, it's just rare. I want to say probably first time I heard Blue Monday, probably when I was. Maybe that year when I was like 7 or 8 in '83 and '84, those years right there. So the first year of that track, I probably heard it. And I was a fan probably by '85 and started to buy their stuff by the time I was 10 years old in '86. So my history goes back pretty far with New Order. And I think when I think of the music from '83 to '93 is probably that decade of New Order is probably one of the most amazing 10 years, decade long of any band that I've ever heard. It probably rivals my favorite bands. Depeche Mode for 10 years, Pet Shop Boys, and Skinny Puppy for 10 years. So those are considered probably my four most impactful bands, and it's because they were so strong for a good solid decade, if not more, and especially if I was to point out music, for a good 10-year period. A lot of those bands all four of those bands are just so solid, and New Order was just New Order was the first one I really gravitated towards because of their remixes. Depeche Mode didn't get strong on their remixes till like Strangelove. You know, the Fly on the Windscreen remixes, Shake the Disease were okay, but you know, it was not like Enjoy the Silence and Strangelove and World in My Eyes. That's when the remixes, you know, were really super, and there were so many of them too. But New Order was generally, you know, of course they did Blue Monday and The Beach and stuff like that, and a couple different versions, you know, LP version, Substance, you know, etc. But and the single version, of course. But you know, the New Order was the first one to really have me kind of gravitate towards their extended versions. So, you know, Perfect Kiss, Kiss of Death, you know, Bizarre Love Triangle, and again Blue Monday. So those remixes, I just spent so much time. Oh, because I think it's a Bizarre Love Triangle, but those tracks in '85, '86, you know, and even '87 going into Substance, and then again when Blue Monday was released in '88, I was really early on in making extended versions of those versions. So New Order was like so important for me because they seem to be the closest thing to what I would eventually like with like techno and house music and things like that, and just dance music. Although Depeche Mode kind of had maybe better songs, or The Cure had better songs, New Order was just kind of that dance version that you know was my favorite early on, and it kind of goes with Pet Shop Boys. And I think as far as the bulk of the material, I think I like Pet Shop Boys a little bit more than New Order, but it is so close, and I feel like I kind of have my qualms, or not my qualms, but you know, the popular songs of New Order like True Faith and Bizarre Love Triangle, you know, great songs, just as well as like It's a Sin or What If I Didn't Serve This or West End Girls from Pet Shop Boys. It's just I've heard those songs so many times. I tend to gravitate towards the lesser known ones and give those more attention. But I just can't fault in any way those songs, except they were overplayed. And that's of course not their fault, or that's my fault. You know, that's you know. But when you hear those songs, they're great songs, and you know, I loved them when I was younger. But as it kind of grown on, it just kind of bothers me that you know people think of New Order and then they'll play Bizarre Love Triangle or True Faith, and then they don't play anything else. They've had so much great. It sucks that they're only by the popular. And I've always had this about the popular media with a lot of my bands is they only know you know a couple songs, and I mean they're considered a cult following. You look at their records and the records sold, and it don't seem like a 100 a one hit wonder to the popular media, but when it comes to like radio play and what people mention about them or what you hear in a normal club or anything like that, they're gonna play the popular songs. So that's another reason why I don't tend to rate those as high as I used to when I was a kid. So you know, looking into the releases, again, we're talking about the New Order, not the Joy Division side or electronic side. Power, Love, and Corruption came out. You can see it's over here. I think that's the original record there, and then here is the reissue, which I guess I still haven't opened. This is the I think 2014 I think reissue. I think this is the first time it really got reissued. I never noticed the back of the cover on this one. I mean, they took the floppy disk from Blue Monday, which is, you know, I don't think the original is like that. It has the tracks on it, so that's kind of unique. And I faintly remember this on the cover, but it looks like, yeah, it's on the original cover. Okay. But great album. I think Age of Consent is one of their best early songs that showed that they could, you know, that they were coming out of Joy Division, and obviously coming out of a darker sound, and they wanted to do something different. And with the, you know, with having the access to beat machines and what's his name, the drummer, I'm blanking on his name. It's gonna bother me. I always hate when I can't forget something. But he was such a good drummer and programming drums that it just made sense for them to go into a electronic vein, and dance music was getting so popular in the early '80s, and they made Blue Monday is what turned out to be kind of a not on purpose, but just to play a dance song when they didn't want to come out for an encore, and it turned into later on, shortly after, it turns into a single and turns out to be one of the all-time best-selling 12 inches of all time. And so they're great at making drum machines, but they're very underrated in making pop songs. And I wouldn't say underrated, but I think they are when it comes to like Age of Consent. Like something like Love Can Tear Us Apart gets so much respect as probably the all-time alternative song of the '80s. I've seen that mentioned in Rolling Stones that was number one all-time alternative song of the '80s. And you have something like Age of Consent or Regret's a great example of them playing a guitar riff, and a guitar riff leading to a magnificent pop song. There's a couple on that, like Run is really underrated. But Age of Consent, was just, they knew how to make a pop song. Ecstasy is really underrated from here. Very underrated track. I love the rhythm in that. It's almost like a Blue Monday sort of ad lib in a way. It's just another drum machine kind of loop. Doesn't really say anything. It has like a vocoder in it. I think that says Ecstasy. It's been so long since I heard that track. But I really like the track. And then 586 is kind of like the B-side of Blue Monday in a way. So just a really strong album. Very raw album. Not engineered particularly well for the time. It's very low volume. Remastering, I've never heard the remastering, but of any tracks, of any album that gets remastered, it would probably be, this would be a good one to do. But just an amazing start to their career. And, but yeah, besides Blue Monday, there was really no hit on there. Even though Age of Consent. I'm trying to remember the other song on there. It's going to bother me, but I wonder if it's on their greatest hits. Age of Consent. No, that's the only one on there. Okay, then kind of moving on to their big hit, right? So Blue Monday. I have quite a few of their singles. This is the original Blue Monday. I just don't have it. That's the original sleeve right there. Looks like I have the record from here just in the sleeve because the package is up here. Most of the times I leave this record in there so I know it's with it, but this one I must have kept out. Age of Consent. We All Stand. Hard to read on this. Your Silent Face is the other one I really like. Ultraviolence, Ecstasy. Yeah, Your Silent Face and Age of Consent. Just amazing songs. And again, you have the Blue Monday here. And the beach is on the other side. Here's another copy of it. It's amazing how expensive this record is. For the time. With so many out there. It's just amazing that this record is worth so much when there's so many of these. Sometimes these go for like $50 or $80, depending on condition. So, so just an amazing song, The Beach and Blue Monday. It's really hard not for me not to say Blue Monday is not the best dance song of all time. When I think of its impact, the group it's from, the sales, the uniqueness of the beat. That beat never gets old for me. That bass line never gets old. The melody never gets old. The lyrics never get old. It's just an amazing song. It's hard for me not to. Every time I think about what's the best dance song of all time, if I had to pick one, it's hard not to choose that one. Moving on. So. There's Thieves Like Us, 12-inch, right? Trying to remember what the B-side was to this. Take a look, because some of these don't know. It's got the instrumental, and we're looking at 1984 here, and then Murders on the B side. So obviously, it's a great instrumental song. Was used in the movie Pretty in Pink. The first 2.5 minutes of Thieves Like Us, one of the best. I don't know, just one of the best New Order songs, instrumental. I mean, it's just an amazing track. It's probably my dad's favorite. Dad definitely liked a lot of New Order. These Like Us, probably his favorite. And then kind of moving on, Perfect Kiss, great album, great EP here. I should say maybe it's a 12-inch more than an EP. Also got a second version, Kiss of Death. Great. This has grown on me. I mean, I always loved this one. You know, it was. I would probably say maybe by the end of their run from '83 to '93 that I really loved New Order. Perfect Kiss was probably just in the top 10. Probably as the years have kind of gone on, this is probably my top 3 favorite New Order songs. You know, and the impact of it, and the live version, and the video. I love the video where they're just jamming out in the studio, right? Playing Perfect Kiss. It's a great song. Man, it's such a great song. I think of like the frogs, you know, what do frogs do? Burp? They ribbit, whatever. I like that, and that sequence, and you know, just to put that into a song at the time. I mean, it's just so unique and so powerful, and the way that it comes in is just so strong, and it's just such a catchy song. Such a catchy song. And here's the album it came from. So Low Life. I'd probably consider this maybe the weakest New Order album. Excuse me, Brotherhood's the weakest album. Low Life I do like a little better because it has subculture, and Elegia, obviously from Pretty Pink as well. That's a all-time great song of theirs, instrumental. Love Vigilantes is definitely a strong one as well. A lot of people love that song. This Time of Night and Sooner Than You Think and Face Up are fairly solid as well. So in a way, this is kind of a little underrated, you know. So this is the original copy. This is I believe this is a reissue in 2014. Actually, it might be an original copy too. I can't remember. Looks like it says $15, so I kept the sticker on there. So probably got this reissue or this. Again, I buy a lot of doubles albums if they're great and they're great condition, and they happen to be even in a better condition than mine. You know, which probably both of these are really good, but you know, on a lot of bands I do that with. And here's like a original CD as well. Really, the only time that a New Order member was on the cover, you know, is this album. And this is the drummer. I'm blanking on his name again, which sucks. You know, of course he was married to the keyboardist Jillian. Excuse me. But really solid album. Really solid album. And then you kind of move on. You know, here's Brotherhood, which I think again is probably, I wouldn't say it's overrated. It's Paradise and Weirder are pretty good. Bizarre Love Triangle is obviously great. I'm not a big fan of State of the Nation. In fact, I think on Substance, State of the Nation is probably the weakest track. I would always fast forward it. Every Little Counts. It's a cute song. Angel Dust, All Day Long. I like to beat on All Day Long. But saying this is their weakest album of their first 10 years, you know, is not saying a lot because they're all really good. I think this is a reissue. I don't know if this is a reissue. I can't remember. But I want to say I got this before the reissue. I just don't know when. Yeah, I can't remember the purchase on that one. Here's Bizarre Love Triangle, original 12-inch. God, I play this one so much. This record's probably pretty toast. But I love the remix on this album. The Substance remix that they put on Substance, that 12-inch version is amazing. It is amazing. It's the way it flows is one of the most all-time best New Order songs. Like and just rhythm machine made songs. It's like a dance music masterpiece. Bizarre Love Triangle is. Here's State of the Nation. Again, not one of my favorite ones, but I do like the cover because it matches Bizarre Love Triangle. This is the UK pressing. I don't know, it was the B side. So this was yeah, it was a Shame of the Nation or Shame or something like that. And then this is the American version of Thieves Like Us, right, with 1984 on the side. Some of the covers on here. Some plastic has some written on there when I got these secondhand over the years. Shell Shock. It's probably one of the most original covers. Doesn't look too. I mean, it doesn't look like New Order in a way. It looks more like an industrial album, but you know, the font is classic New Order. You know, from Substance and the way they write New Order and things like that. And I want to say the remix is on the B side. Things Like Us is on the B side on 45, and the extended version 941 of Shell Shock. Shell Shock's an interesting song because it has a great beat. It falls flat in some ways, but it's still a great catchy track. I'm being ultra picky. Here's the Subculture and the Dub Culture versions, right? So Subculture, I like Subculture a little bit more than Shell Shock. People seem to be the opposite way, like Shell Shock more than Subculture. I really like I don't like the album version so much. I like the remix on Substance is the best version of that. The Dub Culture mix is also pretty cool. And then on the B side, I think it was Dub Culture on both of them. Yeah. Cool, so moving on. The legendary Substance album. I remember my brother got this in '87 on the old double CD, the big box looking CDs, and God, we used to play it so much. Ceremony, and I'm wearing my Ceremony shirt here today. Probably has to be in my top 5. If not, it's hard not for it to be. For me, Ceremony is kind of like the version, probably what Love Will Tear Us Apart is to Joy Division fans. Like, Ceremony is just such a... When I hear those first guitar riffs, I mean, I just know I'm in for a legendary song. Such a great song. Everything's Gone Green is a really cool song, too. Temptation, I was never a huge fan on. A fan of Temptation and State of the Moon, a State of the Nation, but I understand why this definitely has a sing-along moment. The Temptation, every time they play it live, you'd hear the fans sing it. Then you got Blue Monday and of course Confusion. Confusion, Arthur Baker made track or helped with, is definitely quintessential New York dance music for 1984. Then you have the Thieves Like Us, of course. Perfect Kiss again, Subculture, Shell Shock, State of the Nation. Bizarre Love Triangle and True Faith. Man, talk about a hit parade. And this is the promo version here. I lost my CD of this over the year, and I lost my cassette of this over the years as well, but I used to have this on cassette when it first came out. It was an amazing double pack. I mean, Probably my most listened to New Order album besides Technique. But this really put them on the map for me. Especially these versions, because this version of Perfect Kiss, this version of Bizarre Love Triangle, this version of Subculture, this version of Ceremony, this version of Blue Monday. It's hard for me to beat on other ones. You got True Faith and the great B-side 1963. Just an amazing song. Horrible video, by the way. It's really hard to watch the video. For those who've seen it, I wish they would have just played on stage or something, or show their equipment, like Perfect Kiss. Just not a good video. I know people are like, oh, it's artsy and stuff like that, and it's got cool colors or costumes, but to me it looks kind of campy, and I don't know. I just them slapping each other back and forth. It's just I don't know. It doesn't work for me. The re-release of Blue Monday with the 1988 remixes, 12-inch version and the dub version, amazing versions. It's not too much different than the original, but it adds a few. Of course, it adds the vocoder in there, the sample. I want it just too much, which is great. But the beat is a little bit more rolling, and then the dub version again is pretty much without lyrics. So just a great reissue. Of course, it was reissued again in 1995, and I think it was reissued in 2020, probably like 2005, I think also. Then you have Touched by the Hand of God, which was a really strong song that didn't make any albums, but it put it on a single. 1987, so right after Substance. I believe this is the UK version. But really solid record. Really solid song. Video's pretty clever, you know, them overdoing it as like a heavy metal band all dressed up, which is pretty cool. Just a side record that I have in here. New Order, the Acid House mixes by 808 State. Of course, 808 State, you know, did a lot of things with New Order and, you know, Hacienda and that Manchester sound. This is, of course, on Apex's Reflex Records. Or is Aphex run Reflex, or is it Sardinas? I'm pretty sure it's Aphex. Yeah, so this Acid House remix is 808 State. Very much like their, excuse me, very much like their pre-state and pre-build and new build songs, albums. And then moving on to my favorite record. This is my favorite record by New Order. Yeah, I saw them in concert for this. This is 1989, Sugar Cubes and PIL. I was 13 years old. Such an amazing album, and I like it so. It's so tight too. It's so. There's nothing in here that's we need more one song. Love Less and Run and All the Way are really catchy little 3-minute songs like Age of Consent and Love Vigilantes and short ceremony tracks. Just really good guitar songs, and Bernard Sumner sings them really well. Really, I know Bernard Sumner's not a great singer, and I'll be the first to tell you New Order sucked live. Not a fan of New Order live. The two times I saw them in 89 and 83. 89 I didn't have too much opinion. I was 13. We went back 4 years ago and saw them at the Hollywood Bowl in 93. And they just don't take it seriously. They're probably, you know, Bernard probably drank too much, and who knows what's his name's been on. Bass player. God, I can't think of their names today. What's his name? God. Oh, that's gonna bother me. Anyways, Peter Hook. Yeah, who knows what he was on when they were doing live. But this is the original copy. You know, mint. This is a beautiful copy. I actually need to take this out and frame these, because these are. I love the artwork on this. It's so That thing is so classy with the different colors and it just shines bright, sticks out. I love the art, the minimalism on here on the font too. I used to have a New Order shirt that I got from that concert in '89, and it just said, it just said New Order right on the back here, really, and I think it said like concert, just really small, really kind of classy shirt. But Vanishing Point, such a good track. I really think Dream Attack is so underrated on here, and Guilty Partner. Of course, Round and Round's a classic song. And Mr. Disco is probably my favorite on here. It's just I know Round and Round's a great track, but Mr. Disco, it's 808 heaven, 808 heaven. And then of course yeah, I'm trying to think which one. This one might actually be the original copy, and this one might be the reissue. Anyways. Both in good condition. Of course, still have my original cassette and CD. What an amazing album. God, what an amazing album that is. The singles, Fine Time. Fine Time. A cool beat. It's kind of a, I wouldn't say it's a junky dance track that they just put on there, but it was probably such an irresistible groove and sound that they just put it on there. I really like the Silk mix from is it Steve Silk? Or Silk Hurley? I always forget. Silk Hurley? Anyways, I really like the Silk version on this. Don't Do It's not a bad B-sides. The B-sides around this time were really solid, especially on the singles. We got a lot. Well, even on the Substance and before a lot of the 1963, and I really like Mesh. Procession was there's a lot of good outtakes that kind of sound a little bit like Joy Division, a little bit like songs that probably should have made some of the records. And then I got the other version here. Here's the UK version, which also has the Silk mix. This was on 45. Love the artwork. Really cool. Very cool. Very cool. And then Round and Round. Got an original. That's so scratched up. I did a whole 90-minute mixtape of my mixed versions of this song when it came out, because there were so many versions. They had the 12-inch version, the club mix, and the 12-inch remix. Right? And then on top of that, you had the Kevin Saunderson remixes. Trevor Key. Amazing. So Round and Round, just an amazing track. But how about the B-side? Best in Marsh, for those that know. Best in Marsh and Lucky Bag, the B-sides from Electronic. But again, the electronic B-sides are great. Free Will and Second to None. So many good tracks. They were man. Electronic and New Order were on such a roll in like 87 to 91. Just the stuff they put out were just, in my opinion, they're probably the best pop songs of all times. Dance songs made with an 808. I love them so much. But amazing versions here, remixes. Very clean. 12-inch remix, club remix, dub version. They're all kind of similar in a way, but they all have their intricate parts that kind of stand out, and they're kind of reorganized, but they're all really faithful to the original song. Also, a kind of rare one. I wish I had the cover for it, but this is the Run UK pressing. Well, it only came out in UK. It was Run. It was a single. I guess what happened is they got sued by because the guy died in a plane crash. John Denver. Apparently, John Denver sued New Order because they said "Run" sounds like one of his songs. So John Denver gets like 25% of the sales of Run. So they ended up pulling it and not putting it out in other countries. I don't think it would have necessarily sold that well, but for a New Order song not to be in other countries, it was kind of rare around this time. I'm trying to think of the other singles on here. Fine Time was released here. Actually, I guess, Run was really supposed to be the third single from the album. And, yeah. Great song, though. For those that know, the MTO remixes are kind of... That track and the remix is really kind of unique. And again, a lot of great remixers on these albums as well. Moving over to the song they did for the World Cup. So, England, World in Motion. The Ala Valencia mix on here was my favorite. And the Subbuteo mix. But nice to see a single in between albums. It's always a bonus. You're not expecting another album to come out because they just released one and they come out with a new single with remixes. That was always cool to see that in the record store. Then you have Republic. Still haven't opened this copy. My original copy of Republic was on cassette. This is a reissue, I think, from 2017 or 2015. It says. Just still haven't opened. I think this is kind of the issue I have with this album, and it's a very small issue, but there's 11 songs on here, and I don't know if it's maybe too much dance music on here, and maybe there's not enough. When I look at what makes Technique, it's like 5 dance songs or 4 dance songs: Mr. Disco, Round and Round, Vanishing Point, and Fine Time, and then there's 5. So there's the guitar ones, or maybe the laid back tracks are even or outdo the dance track. I think in this one, the dance tracks outdo, as far as volume wise, maybe 1 or 2 songs too many in here, and maybe 1 or 2 maybe too many dance songs, and then Avalanche, the last song, is nothing. But I think Chemical is a weak, and Young Offender is kind of weak. The remix of Spooky is alright, but I think the track kind of weak. Everyone Everywhere is kind of weak. But the dance songs on here are pretty strong. World, Liar, and Special. I really like those. And I think Ruined in a Day is up there with the great slow songs on Technique. And then you have Regret, which of course is, like True Faith. It's just a fantastic song. But again, Liar, World, Liar was the third one, dance songs. Spooky's dance song, of course, too, and Young Offender. But as far as the good ones, World, Liar, and Special. I really like those tracks. I think they're really underrated from this album. And so moving on to the singles. Here's the World, Price of Love singles. Remixes are pretty strong. Oakenfold and Brothers in Rhythm, so Dave Seaman's on here, and pretty strong remixes. Nothing fantastic on here. Unfortunately, no B-side. Remix of Ruined in the Day. Kind of wish they had a good B-side because they were on such a roll with B-sides in the other albums. And then you have the Spooky 12-inch, which, again, no B-side, just 8 versions of Spooky. But some good remixes on here. Stephen Morris is the drummer. Ugh. Stephen Hogg is on here. Mike Drake, Mike Spike Drake is on here. Johnny Clemick's on here. Paul Van Dyke, of course, remixed a couple, and Fluke also remixed it. So, again, around this time, there was some really, along with like Pet Shop Boys and Depeche Mode and even The Cure, a lot of bands, a lot of the engineers and people who remixed these in like 89 and 93 turned out to be some of the first DJs, some of the first popular DJs, Paul Van Dyke, example, Danny Tenaglia, Oakenfold, Marshall Jefferson, a lot of the guys that did some of these early remixes, got their chops in the engineer and then branched out and were also DJing in the clubs, right? So some bonus stuff. So Best of New Order here. Got the Crystal single, which I was into prog house at the time, and none of these remixes really do much for me. Digweed, Lee Combs, Creamer, and Stefan K. Those are some big names around that time, but not really much good stuff. I actually had actually at the time I copied New Order Get Ready because I didn't want to buy it. Only track I really like on here is Vicious Streak. Vicious Streak is really good, slow one if you know that one. Other than that, not a big fan of that album. Of course, it's the last one I bought too. So I haven't bought any of the ones in New Order. I don't have much hope for anything New Order in the 2000s. Here's BBC Live. So again, a lot of times Bernard Sumner, just decides to fuck off and not sing a song well. Perfectly recorded here. This is the version of Temptation on here. Man, he destroys that song. So it is what it is. I'll never see New Order again. They stink live. Pretty rare one here. The 586 video. The single for this song. Really cool. Focus. Is that how they do it? People online. Anyways, got cool font on here. A couple of these, I kind of got these in a bargain basement deal and decided to, get them because of the B-sides. There's some Everything's Gotten Green, Cicada remix on here on the B-side. Temptation, Secret Machines remix, and Bizarre Love Triangle, Richard X mix. So it looks like they put out Waiting for the Sirens on these three and then decided to put a cool remix of an older song on here. These came out in like 05. Yeah, 05. So yeah, that's kind of my New Order collection. But so important for me, in the history of my music life. Like New Order was just so important, and I just, like most people around maybe 90, 93, just kind of fell out. They broke up, and I really like some of the electronic stuff. I think in some ways my love for New Order pushed over to electronic by 91 when the electronic album came out, because I was really into that album in 91. I was really into their album in 96. I was really into their album in 2000. Way more so than any of the albums past Republic. So for me, that's kind of my experience with New Order, and it kind of stops there in 93. And that was, coincidentally, that was last year. Last time I saw them in concert as well. Just such a huge, important band for dance music. Artistically, their covers are iconic in a lot of ways. And, of course, Factory is an iconic label, and they backed it up with some great songs. Just quite a discography of great dance music. It's too bad they couldn't get along and kind of take it into the next generation. It's sad to see them both touring separate, and but in some ways it's kind of expected, because they're kind of a band made out of breakage in their own way, and I think they have different ways, different interests in how they want to present New Order to the world again. Peter Hook's live is a lot better than Bernard Sumner's live New Order. Even though they got Jillian and Bernard, and Peter Hook's version is much tighter. Their playlist is longer. They play more songs. They're more astute. The the new people that weren't in New Order that are playing with Peter Hook, they're really solid. You know, they take it seriously. But they bust out the tracks. You know, I've seen some of the like 27, 30 tracks in a live set. I mean, while you go see New Order and you'll see 13 New Order tracks and maybe a couple Joy Division tracks, and they're not pushing them out even barely an hour and a half. While Peter Hook's doing 2.5 hours doing smaller clubs, just not doesn't have the New Order name, or it's Peter Hook New Order, the Light, whatever. But yeah, it's just. But you know, I guess if I was to see, you know, maybe I'd see him. But Peter Hook, for those in the DJ community that know Peter Hook, well, he is always synonymous for that ecstasy fueled video that he had, where he was DJing and just being a boob and just acting like a complete asshole. And I think there was one other incident he had with something he said in regards to that video going. This has gotten before YouTube, like the video going viral. It wasn't even like YouTube, but it was on YouTube early on. I think I looked for it a couple times over the last like 10 years and couldn't find that video. But it's a hilarious video. He's just off his ass and acting like an idiot. And then I think there was another video of him acting like an ass. But you know, him and Bernard Sumner just don't get along. I don't think Jillian and Steven really care that much. They just kind of go with the flow. But they're married. They seem happy. You know, but Bernard and Peter Hook just can't stand each other. And they got that UK sense of humor towards each other, and it's crazy. But yeah, Johnny Marr was really important in also making electronic really strong. Johnny Marr is just an amazing guitar player, and he's done so much good things after they left Smiths. So yeah, that's my video on New Order. Hope you guys appreciate it. Enjoy my conversation about it. Excuse the long-windedness. I'm still trying to get better at expressing my thoughts, and I just do these off the cuff. I don't necessarily line them up and about what topics and what I want to say. I just kind of go off the hook because for me that makes it interesting. And I could probably maybe present it better if it was organized more, but I think it would bore me. And a lot of times, in the past, when I organize something, I'm going to say I lose track and trying to follow along and don't just go with my thoughts. So sometimes I think it's just better to go talk from the heart and just speak about your history. So yeah, I'd be curious to know your top five favorite New Order songs, and what your favorite New Order record is. And do you have any opinion about them live? Have you seen them live and enjoyed it, or you kind of agree with me that they just kind of sit there like hacks and don't really do nothing, and Bernard Sumner f's up the songs? I also think some of the instrumentation, kind of like the Pet Shop Boys. If you're gonna do live the songs and you're doing songs that are 30, 40 years old, and you're using new equipment to do those songs, it like Blue Monday without the same rhythm machines that did it is not Blue Monday. Not to me. It might be some kind of like other version or something like that, but I gotta hear that original bass line. I gotta hear that I think it's a Lynn drum machine on Blue Monday. I don't think it's an 808. But again, yeah, just you gotta have that original keyboard sounds, the same kind of strings that are like, for me to be wowed, like I want to hear like the original version. I think that's the best. That's what got us to like and revere that track so much, is the original equipment. If you're gonna do Perfect Kiss and it's not gonna sound like Perfect Kiss on the album, I'm gonna be disappointed. I'm sorry. Some people are okay with hearing new versions of stuff, but I kind of want to hear the old version. That's why a lot of bands I'm kind of disappointed with seeing them live, but it's because they're strictly a dance, and I'm in tune with those tones and those frequencies and those machines and those modulars and the same setup. I come from an engineering background, so I feel like I listen to them in a way like their original stems and the original way and the levels and everything, the original mix of how they had it on their albums and then how they had it on their singles. And if they do a live version and the volumes are out of whack or the machines aren't used, they're not the original ones, then every small thing kind of detours from my enjoyment. And unfortunately, that's just what happens when you get really hardcore into music. Sometimes there's little things that bother you about seeing bands and things like that. And for me with dance music, that's with dance bands, seeing them live, that's a big deterrent for me. But yeah, what are your top 5 New Order tracks and what's your favorite New Order album? All right, thanks so much for listening today to Electric Cafe. Have a good day.